People often ask me or are surprised when I tell them that I've never been in a relationship before. And they're like, why? Don't you want one? Like, I'm confused. It's been 21 years. Honestly, like, yeah, sure. But I don't want just some like simple everyday love. Now let me explain. I'm inside now, it's hot. Life is so freaking cool. And I wanna live my life experiencing everything. I know in my soul that I am capable of anything I put my mind to. Honestly, nowadays, it's really rare to come across other people that feel the same way. I don't want some love where they just like tick all the boxes. I want like a deep soul connection.
Okay. What do you mean?
Now this is absolutely fascinating. Here we have a cat lady in training who's already gone all in on spending the rest of her life alone. Her standards are so high that even if a man meets those standards by quote unquote ticking all the boxes, he still will not be good enough for her unless that man is able to provide her with an endless stream of serotonin and dopamine for her brain, which I'm assuming is already on one form of medication. Modern women aren't looking for security and contentment. They're looking for an unending emotional joyride, as if that's a realistic standard for life. And that kind of an expectation is exhausting to a self-respecting man. And it's a known fact that videos like this are a boxed wine distributor's wet dream. It's a not so subtle reminder that those guys are sleeping comfortably knowing that these broads are going to be paying off the mortgage on their second vacation home in the Ozarks.
Where they have the same goals and excitement for life as I do. Where we get to like experience, travel the world, build multi-million-dollar businesses that inspire people together. I want someone that stimulates me emotionally, physically, and intellectually, not just text me good morning because they're supposed to. I have so much excitement and passion towards life and my goals and the things that I want to do that I want to equally feel that for another person.
I want a magenta horse. And I want to fly away with it into a reddish background. And I want pixies. I want pixies.
You know, I have to give this chick some points for originality for her delusion. Instead of her demanding a man to pay her bills, she's expecting both of them to build separate multi-million-dollar businesses which somehow inspire people while traveling the world and living a life of ease and riches that's lazily disguised as spiritualism. Now let's be real for a second, woman. If that man dedicates his time, energy, and focus into building a multi-million-dollar business, he's gonna have some pitfalls. The world's an imperfect place. Things do go wrong, and it might not make a profit for quite some time. Now, when that happens, will you stick by his side and support him through the hard times, or will you cut and run the second he needs you because he doesn't have the same lust for life as you? Face it, lady, you don't want a man who's building a business. You want a business built before you enter into his life. That way you can take credit and not have to put in any work. It's a classic play from the modern woman.
And honestly, if I don't, I am so fine with not being with someone. Because I know that the right person would only add to my life and add to my passions so that we can grow together and help push each other to experience even more things. I don't just want to like chill at home and take naps. I want to experience the world and everything that comes with being a part of the human experience.
This is beyond easy.
Am I really gonna have to be the one to tell her this? Alright, fine. Woman, you do realize that hard times are part of the human experience, right? You don't just get to live your life in a constant state of perpetual bliss. The human experience includes moments of sadness, suffering, and anger. You're going to struggle, and sometimes you will lose. That is how life works. Now, you're assuming a man is just gonna magically make your life better. Now, with the proper bond, sure, there's some truth to that, but that kind of bond takes time, dedication, and work, and that does not happen during the highs of the relationship. It's about how dedicated you are when things are bad, and that's something you're not willing to think about because you're young and still getting attention from men. That's why you're so comfortable with the idea of being alone, but in 6 or 7 years, odds are you'll be whistling a different tune. Ignorance may be bliss, sweetheart, but it'll also be your downfall. Don't say we didn't warn you.
Good luck.
In my opinion, I believe that women should not have to work. Like, if I don't want to work, I shouldn't have to. Like, I don't think I'm meant to work. Like, I've tried the 9-to-5s, I went to college, did all these jobs. Like, I don't want to. I don't want to work. I just don't have any enjoyment from it. I'm literally miserable every time I get a job. I hate it. Like, kudos to the girls that love working. That's not me, and it'll never be me.
Men build things, then we die. It's in our DNA. That's what we we do?
Lady, this is the 21st century. It's the age of Dan Fogelberg albums and Pac-Man video games, and it's kind of uncommon for people to find jobs that they legitimately love. That's why it's called work and not super duper happy fun time. Nobody cares that you don't like working. You don't get much of a choice. Even if you were to get married, you will still have to work. That's the new economy, and you can thank a multi-generational conspiracy to disintegrate the bedrock of the traditional family and rot it out an essential pillar of what kept Western society stable for the last couple hundred years. And now you're expecting men to not only keep things running, but also take care of you, while you figure you can contribute nothing. Well, I hate to break it to you, sister. Just because you think that you're this special character in the story you created for your life, it doesn't make that true. You asked to work and be independent without realizing that you can't do the same thing as a man. Because men are designed to work and you aren't. Instead of accepting that truth, you're just gonna complain, which is one of the most unattractive things that you can do.
You blew it. Capiche?
I'm just saying. This Free People shirt does the talking for me. I'm just saying.
I must have missed 60 minutes. What are you saying?
Yeah, I think I know what you're saying. You're over the age of 40. You have a disturbing reliance on filters as well as fake hair and the hundreds of dollars you waste on makeup to give you that manufactured look that women in crisis somehow think makes them look younger. There isn't a real thing about you, sweetheart. Well, maybe your kidney, but you sold your real kidney in order to pay for the toxins you inject into your face to paralyze everything to give you the illusion that you look younger. And I personally think none of this would have been necessary if you actually lived a fulfilling life instead of obsessing over your age. But apparently I'm wrong because your insecurities have clearly influenced you to drain your bank account to pay for certain, augmentations, if you catch my algorithmic drift. But sure, go ahead and brag about your stupid shirt. That'll make your life complete. Just saying.
You're boring! You're fucking dull! You have nothing to say! You are a one-hived mind twat waffle!
Okay, I feel like I hear this all the time, that men don't make plans, men don't actually ask women out on dates, and there is actually a reason for this. Not saying it's a good reason, but there's a reason. With the rise of dating apps over the past, let's say, 10 to 15 years, and then particularly the major boom that happened during COVID, when basically the only way you could meet anyone was with dating apps, men and women and everybody are dealing with what we might call the illusion of choice, where they think they have unlimited options just because when you open your phone, you can swipe on unlimited options. Does that mean you actually have unlimited options? No, but can it feel that way? Yes. So what tends to happen is that some men who are maybe not looking for a serious relationship, or even men who are looking for a serious relationship, are also looking for the lowest barrier to dating, meaning they want to do the least amount of work for the maximum result. So if they're looking for something casual, they want to do the least amount of work for a casual relationship. Even if they're looking for something serious, they want to do the least amount of work to get to the point of a serious relationship.
And that's an interesting thing about mathematics, is when you're 50% right, you're 100% wrong.
Oh, woman, what you just described is not held exclusively towards men. It's called the human condition. Taking the path of least resistance and putting forth the minimal amount of energy for the maximum amount of gain is something animals have had to do since creatures started clawing their way out of the primordial goop. You just like to pretend that it's not something you do because you must appear morally superior to everyone around you. For example, you want resources. You have two ways to get them. The first is to get a job, earn money, and spend it on food, shelter, and whatever other shiny trinkets that catch your eye, or just get a man to do it for you. Which is easier? Actually, I should rephrase that. Judging from your clear incompetence when it comes to your understanding of men, I think it's only fair that we call your ability to do anything productive into question as well. So I guess the real question was, which was easier for women until you and your brood came along?
And because there's this illusion of choice where it feels like there are so many options, limitless options, why wouldn't you just keep shooting your shot with your low-level ask? Hey, come over, let's hang, not, hey, let me take you to dinner, or hey, let me plan a date. You keep shooting your shot with this low-level ask or this low-level request, and you just see who bites. So instead of, hey, I met this one woman, I really like her, let me put in a lot of effort to asking her out on a date, it's, I met this woman on this app and she seems fine, but there's also 1 million other women. So if I just ask her to come over and chill, a low investment date, and she says no, I'll just move on to one of the other 1 million women on the app.
Oh, really?
Ah, I get it now. So you're not actually referring to average everyday dudes. You're still under the notion that 95% of men are violent subhuman serfs. Gotcha. Well, yes, if we're talking about Sherlock Holmes and Tyrotson, then yes, they don't have to put in much effort because there's no need for them to have to do so. If you find a man who meets your superficial standards, then you'll do whatever the hell they want, whenever they want. You can't help yourself. You want to fool yourself into thinking that you have a chance to lock this guy down, but the problem is he's not playing your game. You are playing his game, so he's not obligated to play by your rules. So that means if you're not going to provide him with low effort coitus, then there's plenty of other women who are younger, more attractive, and more agreeable who can take your place in an instant. That man does have options. That's why he's a detective, and you're not even a side character.
Same goes for if you've been on a few dates with someone. That's enough for them to get to that point of let me see what I can get away with, because if I have to put in too much effort, I'll just move on to one of the other options that are available to me online. Even though, again, it just seems like limitless options, it's not actually limitless options. There is actually a good reason that men don't make plans, or that a lot of times men won't ask you out on a date, is because they're trying to see what they can get away with.
Emotional damage.
Hey lady, testing the waters to see what you can get away with isn't something practiced by the average everyday dude. It takes too much time, effort, and planning that can be better dedicated to doing something more productive, like mastering Russian attack for the NES. Testing a person's patience through subtle acts of disrespect is something more in tune of what a woman does to test a man, and it's really not that appreciated. It shows a lack of character and that you're not at all mature. And as a man, I will judge you for your disrespectful immaturity as I sit in my recliner with a bowl of Cocoa Puffs while in my pajamas and bathrobe at 3:37 p.m. on a Wednesday, and that is still significantly more mature than any of the backhanded tactics you pull, and it's a lot more comfortable, not to mention a lot more pleasurable as well.
So the way around this, in my opinion, is making it very clear what you expect in your dating app profiles, in your communication from the very beginning. So like for a while I had a Hinge prompt response. It said the best way to ask me out is by asking 2 days in advance, planning something fun. Like something to indicate that you saying, hey, let's chill, does not count as a date. Same goes for when I do go on a first date with someone, I make it very clear, yeah, I'm not coming to your house to hang in month 1, literally at all. Like I would like to go out in the world on dates. I will plan some of those dates. I'm happy for us to mutually come up with stuff, but let's chill is not appropriate for date 2, 3, 4. So number 1 is they do have a reason for not making plans. They're just kind of seeing what they can get away with limitless options. But 2 is you can actually set a standard for what you expect. And if they don't meet that, bye.
Great plan.
Thank you.
He likes your plan, Chief.
Hey woman, it is amazing to me how you can claim to be a dating expert and give so-called advice when you're openly disregarding literally 95% of the world male population. You refuse to interact with them as you view them unworthy to bask in your irradiated presence. The remaining 5% of men, the ones you desire to a delusional degree, will either ignore you when they see your laundry list of demands, or you will compromise those standards when he tells you to come over to his place and chill. By withholding bedroom fun to any man who wants to legitimately date you for over a month is a manipulative tactic, especially when you consider your longing for Chad and Tyrone. All you're doing is alienating perfectly good men who want to make you happy because when you were younger, you had massive impulse control issues. Don't get me wrong, you still do now, but at least back then you looked good when you had them. And that is going to do it for today's video, gentlemen and gents. And as always, if you find that my particular brand of humor is bringing you to the brink of laughter, then why don't you scroll on down and click that like and subscribe button. Ring the notification bell, leave a couple of comments, share this video so we can get the good old-fashioned middle finger to the YouTube algorithm. Thank you so much for checking out the new video, and until next time, peace out, homies.